Let's build the easiest Kelp XP farm for Minecraft Bedrock 1.19. And the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and find yourself a chunk. If you build this in between chunk borders, then unfortunately it won't work. It's a relatively small build though, so you could probably get away with building it randomly and hoping for the best. And if it doesn't work, then just move it. But if you don't want to do that, then you can go ahead and download this texture pack I have. Link will be in the description. It's really easy to use. And we're just going to go ahead and find yourself the corner of the chunk, which just so happens to be right here. So this is going to be where we start building. And from there, the first thing you're going to do is place down a block and then a temporary block on top. Place down 2 blocks on either side of the temporary block, and then go ahead and break that block. We're then going to grab ourselves a lever, and we're going to place that on the front of the farm, which is going to be right here. We are then going to go ahead and place down a redstone torch underneath of the lever, and then we're going to place down a redstone repeater, going in the direction that this lever actually has control over it, and we're going to go ahead and place down redstone dust, like so. So if you've done everything correctly, then you should have a clock here, and I'll just let you guys take a look at this. This is probably the hardest part of the build, and then if you go ahead and turn this on, then of course the clock is going to stop. After building the clock, we're going to go ahead and place down 3 blocks like so, and then we're going to go ahead and place down 3 redstone dust. From here, we're going to place down 2 sticky pistons side by side, and those are going to be powered up by these redstone dust right here. We're then going to place down 2 blocks right here, and we're going to place down 2 sand blocks and 2 more sand blocks. So you should have a total of 4 sand blocks, and this is what it should look like. Place down a chest just below the lever here, and then we're going to grab our hoppers, and we're going to run 2 hoppers into that chest. Place down 2 smokers on top of those hoppers, and then we're going to grab more hoppers, and we're going to place them directly down into the smokers, and then we're going to connect 2 more hoppers into those hoppers. So this is what it should look like, and this is going to be the collection system for the kelp that's going to end up smelting it and giving us all that glorious XP and some dried kelp, which we can use as fuel. Now we're going to build the enclosure for the kelp, so we're going to place down 1 block right here, and then we can go ahead and fill in this side, and this side is mostly just for looks, so you don't need these 8 blocks, but I recommend just building them. And then we're going to go ahead and build up 3 blocks, and build up 3 blocks right here, and then come across to create an arch like this. Grab some glass panes now, and we're going to place down our glass panes inside of this window, and this is going to make it so that the kelp is going to land on the side of this glass and then drop down into the hopper. On the back side of the farm, go ahead and break this block right here and place down a redstone torch, and if everything is correct, then this redstone torch should be powered off. We're then going to place down another block on top of that redstone torch, and then we're going to go ahead and place down a redstone torch just on top to create a miniature torch tower. We're then going to grab some blocks, and we're going to fill in this area just to keep everything nice and clean, and then we're going to go ahead and add another layer. From here, we're going to grab our normal pistons and place down 2 pistons on the second layer of the sand area. On the back side now, we're going to place down 2 blocks and then 2 redstone dust so that both of these pistons are fully extended, and those of course are being powered by this redstone torch. Alright, we're getting super close to being done. All we need now is to place down 2 blocks right here, 2 blocks right here, and we're going to finish off this layer to create a nice little zero shape, O shape, whatever you want to call it. And then up here, we're going to place down 2 trapdoors on top of these holes, and these are going to flick open and shut. Don't ask me why we need these, it's just what's needed in order to zero tick the kelp, or whatever you want to say, glitch the kelp, it doesn't really matter. We're going to come over here now, and we're going to go ahead and break this block right here, and then we are going to place down some more redstone dust. And the last thing we need to do is go ahead and place down this block right here so that these trapdoors are now powered. So if we go ahead and grab our water bucket and we shift click and place down 2 water buckets inside of these trapdoors, so make sure those are waterlogged. And then if we go down here and waterlog these blocks just underneath the pistons, do not waterlog the pistons, place down water on those sand blocks. And then if we just go ahead and grab ourselves some kelp, and then place down our 2 kelp, that is everything done. So if we actually go ahead and turn on the farm, this thing is going to start 0 ticking kelp. As you can see, we're getting tons of kelp. All of it is flowing into these hoppers, going into the smokers. Of course, we have nothing to smelt it right now, so this is where you're going to need some fuel. As of right now, you can use whatever fuel you would like, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw in 2 lava buckets right here. But if you can't afford that, then just use some coal or something like that. Obviously, lava buckets are going to smelt 100 kelp, which is going to be super useful. And of course, you get the buckets back. But all of this dried kelp that we are getting right now, we're actually going to turn into dried kelp blocks. And then we can throw them back into the smokers when all of that is done. And then we will have an infinite fuel source. So this thing is actually going to power itself after you get the initial little boost to get your first dried kelp. And you might have noticed already that this farm is getting a little out of hand. You might have a little overflow like I'm having here. And that is absolutely not a problem, because anything that doesn't get smelted, we can go ahead and just unclog these hoppers and throw them into a giant super smelter to get some more kelp and some more XP. But this system also works if you just want to run it, turn it off so that it stops making kelp, and then turn it back on again. Or honestly, you could just let all that extra kelp despawn. It really is up to you. You could have even more smokers if you wanted to do that as well. But I'm going to quickly show you how to get the XP from these smokers. Keep in mind, we've only smelted a tiny fraction of kelp. Alright, I went ahead and threw myself into survival mode, and as you can see, I placed down 2 levers on both of the smokers, and in order to collect experience from them, all we're going to do is go ahead and flick both of these levers, and as you can see, we now have some dried kelp in the smelted slot. So all we have to do is go ahead and grab that from the smoker, same with this side, and as you can see, we have got 1 level. Now this thing doesn't work like it used to. If you go ahead and grab it again, unfortunately, it's not going to give us more XP. It doesn't store the XP anymore, but because this thing is so easy to build and it's super easy to use, and because it is super self-sufficient by making its own fuel, there's really no reason not to have this thing going and collecting experience from time to time. You can also AFK at this by adding in a fuel storage system if you wanted to do that by running hoppers into the sides of these smokers with some kelp blocks as well. So there are tons of things that you can do to make this even more self-sufficient than it already is. And yeah, it's going to give you tons of levels, and you're not even going to have to think about it. Also, really quick, I just want to say, never, ever, ever log off with this farm on. If you do, then the entire farm is going to break. So make sure before you log out of your world to turn the lever off. Make sure the farm isn't going anymore, or else things are going to break, and you don't want that happening. So I'm going to say it one more time. Make sure the farm is off before you leave the world. Alright, that is going to do it for today's video, though. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this one. I know it sucks that furnaces don't store XP anymore, but it is what it is. This farm is still super great, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, then please do consider subscribing and leaving a like. My name is 1UpMC, and I will catch you guys in the next one.